Hey everybody, it's Mike Macniak here. I'm sorry I'm coming at you so late in the evening if you're back on the East Coast, and uh, so maybe early here. I'm out on the West Coast. Actually, I'm in Phoenix. I'm at Brendan Burchard's High Performance Academy. Uh, this is his book, High Performance Habits. But I'm out here at the High Performance Academy. I brought a couple people from work out here, and actually three people that I work with, and one of my coaches has met me out here to learn from this great thinker and great guy who I've had the pleasure to get to know over the last year and call a friend. I'm sitting in my hotel room with my little Surface tablet going here, and I want to just catch up with you all and just continue the process that I started, a month ago. Yeah, I'm writing an article, a short article on misconceptions that caregivers, family members, fiduciaries, conservators make on a regular basis, and boy, it just continues to happen. You know, I had some folks in my office just recently, and this is not their fault. It's a big misconception out there about what a fiduciary can do, what a guardian can do, what a caregiver should do, what an attorney should do. And we talked at length about some of the limitations, some of the reality of the law, the limitations. So there's technicality, practicality, and somewhere in between is where we find ourselves having to operate. And so what I've been doing every week is I've been posting some of the misconceptions, and then the following week I've been sort of giving you my sort of summary of it. So I'm going to continue to do that here. Last week I posted the fourth misconception, and if you're following me in my groups or even here on the timeline, you'll see that I posted the fifth misconception that is often made today. But last week the misconception that I posted is that people often think that when we develop strategy or we develop a plan of action, that plan should really focus around the disability or the inability of a certain client or things that they can or cannot do. And I think that this is understandable to a degree, but it's also old-fashioned. It's old school. Let me explain what I mean. I think that we as a society developed the initial consciousness, if you will, that we have an obligation to help people in need long ago. I mean, this goes back to Clifford Beers and beyond. I mean, when we were tribesmen living in caves, we believed that we should help those who couldn't help themselves to an extent, I guess. I suppose that at some point people were given up on. But as civilization and as people grew and our sensibilities grew, we decided that we should care for people who can't care for themselves. And obviously that's the way it should be. But it was always based upon the fact that they were disabled. It was always based upon the fact that they had something wrong with them, and we needed to help fix what was wrong with them, or however you want to say it. And, you know, not that it's right, but it's how we've evolved as a species, as a race, as a civilization. And happily, we have really had a paradigm shift in the last, I mean, I'm telling you, in my professional lifetime, which is about 25 years, we've had a major paradigm shift in this arena. It started, there's lots of terms that cover it. The biggest term that I can think of right off the top of my head is this whole recovery movement that was very popular, which basically speaks to empowerment of folks, offering folks dignity, offering folks responsibility, choice, rights, maintaining people's basic human fundamental rights. So now what we've come to do, and rightfully so, when we speak about putting together a plan of action, the plan that we want to put together necessarily starts with the abilities of an individual. We want to say, what can my grandmother do still for herself? What can my client do for his or herself? And as we think about what people are capable of doing, we then get into, hey Jamie, as people think about what people are capable of doing, it's a totally different mindset. It makes us think differently in terms of always thinking about, as opposed to thinking about all the time, well, I have to protect my grandmother from this. I have to protect my client from X, Y, or Z. Because when we come at care from a place of that which people can't do, we are necessarily limiting, not only in our brains, but in the services that we put upon them, and limiting their empowerment, right? So this massive paradigm shift that's really taken hold and is now the driving force behind social services and caregiving, et cetera, is to say, hey, let's start from a place of positive. Let's say my grandmother is capable of getting on a computer and ordering her own groceries and having Peapod delivered, or having ShopRite deliver, or Publix, or wherever you may be in this country. And therefore, I want to encourage her to do that. I want to keep allowing my client, my loved one, to do things that they are capable of doing, because that affords them not only dignity, it not only gives them empowerment, but it's also a practice and an activity of life. And those activities of life and those activities of being are exactly fundamentally that they help us to continue to live. They help us to progress. So it's very understandable. It's very conscionable for folks to say, my grandmother's not capable of this. My loved one, my client is not capable of that. But in the long run, what we really want to do is say, well, tell me again, what do you think that they're capable of? Because when we think about what they're capable of, boy, we start from a totally different place. And we offer so much more to the people that we're caring for. And frankly, when you look at it from this perspective, the number of services potentially that you need to bring in, coordinate, and arrange for can be significantly dropped. I firmly believe, and this, I'll leave you with this, because I firmly believe that the longer that we allow people to maintain dignity, to maintain responsibility for themselves and their actions and their interactions and their socialization, I firmly 1,000% believe that is what will keep people going. It's part of one of the central, the inner drives that we all have, is to keep meeting our needs and keep going and sustaining. So to take away those dignities, to take away those responsibilities, is not doing anybody a great service. So the lesson from this week is based upon last week's post. Again, the misconception that people make is when they're putting together a strategy for the care of a loved one or a client, they want to start with looking at inability. Again, the paradigm shift is to say, no. Let's look at what this person is capable of. Let's look at their ability. And that should inform our process. It should inform our planning. And it's such a great thing. It's such a paradigm shift. It's massive. It's a massive paradigm. It sounds so simple, but it's a massive paradigm shift. And I hope I'm getting that point across emphatically enough. It is a massive paradigm shift. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here and following me through. Next week, I'm going to be talking about the 5th and final misconception that caregivers, fiduciaries, guardians make, which I posted earlier today, and I hope you can respond to it and will enjoy what I have to say about this, because it's a big thing in my life, in my career, and it's a big topic of concern, not only in the guardianship world, but I think it really impacts a lot of us in our thoughts about the legal processes and social services in every realm of what we do. So check out the post for misconception number 5, and I thank you for being here and checking out this misconception number 4. Next week, we'll address that last misconception, and then I want to turn to a totally different topic after that. So thank you all for being here. Remember what I say, stay proactive, stay proficient, and continue to change lives. Stay good, everybody. Talk to you soon. From Phoenix, from the High Performance Academy Live today, I am signing off, and I'll see you over the weekend.